जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरवर धारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरवर धारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरवर धारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरवर धारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे जय राधा कृष्ण चंद्र राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय निताय गौरांगो जय निताय गौरांगो जय निताय गौरांगो जय निताय गौरांगो जय जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindh Bhakti Vedant Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramhansa Nitya Leela Pravishta His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai. नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। वृंद देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री निताय गौरांग की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtah Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 7th Canto, 10th Chapter, verse number 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Tobhyam. Om Namo Bhagavate Tobhyam. Purushaya Mahatmane. Purushaya Mahatmane. Haraye Adbhuta Singhaya. Haraye Adbhuta Singhaya. Brahmane Paramatmane. Brahmane Paramatmane. Om Namo Bhagavate Tobhyam. Purushaya Mahatmane. Haraye Adbhuta Singhaya. Brahmane Paramatmane. Om. O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. Bhagavate. Unto the Supreme Person. Tobhyam. Unto you. Purushaya. Unto the Supreme Person. Mahatmane. Unto the Supreme Soul or the Super Soul. Haraye. Unto the Lord who vanquishes all the miseries of devotees. Adbhuta Singhaya, unto your wonderful lion-like form as Narsingadev. Brahmane, unto the Supreme Brahma. Parama Atmane, unto the Supreme Soul. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation: O my Lord, full of six opulences, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, killer of all miseries, O Supreme Person in the form of a wonderful lion and man, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please repeat. O my Lord, full of six opulences, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, killer of all miseries, O Supreme Person, in the form of a wonderful lion and man, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. In the previous verse, Prahlāda Mahārāja has explained that a devotee can achieve the platform of Bhagavatva, being as good as the Supreme Person. But this does not mean that the devotee loses his position as a servant. A pure servant of the Lord, although as opulent as the Lord, is still meant to offer respectful obeisances to the Lord in service. Prahlāda Mahārāja was engaged in pacifying the Lord, and therefore he did not consider himself equal to the Lord. He defined his position as a servant and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Purushaya Mahatmane. Prahlāda Mahārāja is offering his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada explains a very important point here. As Prahlāda Mahārāja explained in the previous verse, one who is free from all kamam, the material desires, such a person becomes eligible for Bhagavatva. What is Bhagavatva? Obtaining same position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is same position? Does it mean he becomes the supreme controller of entire existence? So our constitutional position is always fixed as part and parcel of Lord. So one becomes on the same position of the Lord, means he becomes equally opulent as that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He attains same opulence. In this material world, if a person becomes opulent, or if he becomes as opulent as his master, then he will immediately give up his service to the master. Service is done to become opulent. So many people, they tell, I love my work, I love my job, I love my subjects. But then everyone is seeking promotion here in this world. They are not interested in that particular kind of service. If there is promotion, they very easily give up their service. Rather, if there is no promotion, they become disturbed So thus actually people do not like. So most of the people, that is why they are living in self-delusion, or they are lying, trying to somehow give solace to themselves. Yes, I do not like my work, but self-affirmation, otherwise how shall I continue with my work? So they like to cheat their minds into doing that work. No, I like this work, but actually no. A person likes the work because he is very much attached to the result which he is going to get from the work. I love this person, I love this boy, I love this girl, I love my family members, but if the family member does not reciprocate, we become angry. And people kill their family members also. People give up their lovers also. People give up their jobs also if there is no result. So actually we love the result here. Actions in this material world do not give us joy. But spiritual service is not like this. Work on the spiritual platform is not done for sense gratification. Here, unless there is sense gratification involved, nobody will do that work. Our senses demand satisfaction. And on a spiritual platform, the devotee is willing to give up all sense enjoyment, material and spiritual, for the service of the Lord. The service itself is enjoyable, completely relishable. So this is the difference between material and spiritual platform. So although the devotee attains Bhagavatva, the platform of opulence as that of the Supreme Lord, his position as a servant is not given up. It is not taken from him, neither he wants to give up. He wants to remain servant always, because there is unlimited pleasure in rendering service to Krishna. Rather, Krishna does not derive that much pleasure in getting served than what the devotee gets in serving Krishna. That is why Krishna wanted to understand what kind of pleasure my devotees derive, that even though they are having such discomfort, they are put into serious material tribulations, still they don't give up my service, rather they become more attached to my service. So what is this unique nature of my service? What is this pleasure? Krishna wanted to know that. So that is why Lord Krishna took up the mood of Srimati Radharani. Radha Krishna, they combined in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna wanted to taste the nectar of his own devotional service. So this pleasure is so great. So that is why a devotee never wishes to give up. Even though he has become as opulent as the Supreme Lord, he is not willing to give up his service. He likes to remain servant. Thus Prahlāda Mahārāja, although he is Bhagavatva, he is on the same platform as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is offering prayers. He is not telling, now I am equal to you, I need not offer prayers. No. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam. He is offering prayers. You are master, I am your servant. I may be equally opulent by your grace, but still I would like to remain your servant and render loving service unto you. But as somebody asked the question in last class, it is so difficult and impractical. How to give up all material desires? Our heart is full of mountain of material desires. So many desires we have. And even if we are trying to give up, we have realized these material desires only are creating troubles in our life. I want to give up. Still my best willingness, I am not able to give up. So yes, actually it is not easy. That is why this position is very rare. Sudurlabha Bhagavata Hiloke. Such a Bhagavat, pure devotee of Krishna who is Bhagavatva on the level of Supreme Lord, it is rare to be found in the universe. So we cannot imagine our good fortune, what we have got now in contact with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this position was never given. It was rare in the universe, which is offered to all of us now. So that is why one should not waste a moment. It is told avyartha kalatvam. One should not waste even a single moment planning to reduce material miseries or to increase material happiness. One should utilize each and every moment for spiritual advancement, because this position nobody has attained. We might have come in contact with so many other living entities, so many other sages, saints in the past life, but contact with a pure devotee is very rare. That too pure devotee of Lord Chaitanya is very, very rare. So thus Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given that all of us can attain this position of Bhagavatva, giving up all the material desires completely. So the question is how to give up. This is very nice position, having love of Godhead, not willing to give up God's service. But how to attain, how to become free from all those desires? Has anyone attained this position by being in material world? So answer is yes. Although the cases have been rare, but yes, devotees have attained in the past. And one such instance is of the spiritual master of Prahlāda Mahārāja himself. And he explains very nicely to Ved Vyas how he attained this position. So let us see, he is also chanting similar verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam. Here Prahlāda Mahārāja is chanting. And in first canto, we are reading 7th canto now. In first canto, Narad Muni chants similar verse. He chants. So this is from first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 37. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnaya Niruddhaya Namas Sankarshanaya Cha. It means, Om Namo Bhagavate. Let us all chant the glories of Vasudev along with his plenary expansions Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Sankarshan. So Narad Muni is telling, a person who is actually wise, he worships the Supreme Lord by chanting his name. So let us all chant the names of the Supreme Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam. Prahlāda Mahārāja is also telling, Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam. Supreme Lord, I offer my respects unto you. And what are the names of the Supreme Lord? Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So let us chant the glories of Vasudev along with his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha and Sankarshan. Iti murti abhidhanena. So this is again very important verse. In next verse, Narad Muni explains, Iti murti abhidhanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajate yajna purusham sasamyak darshanah puman. Thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. So Narad Muni is telling who is actual seer, who has actually seen the Supreme Lord. Thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation, Murti Abhidhanena. Murti means representation, form. Abhidhanena means in sound. Mantra Murtim, form representation of transcendental sound. Amurtikam, one who has no material form. So Krishna has no material form. So that Supreme Personality who doesn't have any material form, Amurtikam, Murti Abhidhanena Mantra Murtim. Mantra Murti, he is worshipped in the form of his holy name by the people who are Sasamyak Darshana Puman. Samyak Darshan. Samyak means complete, who actually have complete realization of Supreme Personality, who are actual seers of absolute truth. So they worship Supreme Personality by chanting his name. So thus, just see, chanting process is so much glorified. So chanting has always been very, very powerful. Just that in this age, chanting process has been given to all of us. So special potency is revealed in this age. In the form of holy name, Krishna has incarnated just like Krishna was always present. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always present before his appearance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave darshan to the Sampradaya Acharyas. And then the Acharyas told, oh, this form we have never seen before. We want to glorify you in this form. So Mahaprabhu told, no, do not do this. Now you preach Radha Krishna worship. And then when I incarnate, you will also incarnate. And then you preach the glories of this form of Gauranga. So thus this form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is eternal. And Acharyas could see even before he was manifest before all of us 500 years ago. But when Lord incarnates, he becomes very, very merciful and everyone is able to purify himself. Thus all the people who offered respects when Mahaprabhu was visible here, even as a great sannyasi, they all got delivered by his association. So thus holy name incarnation is always present to show mercy to the devotees. But in this age, he has become very merciful and thus he has kindly manifested and he is engaging all of us in his kind service.
So thus he is showing his extraordinary potency. That is the difference. So thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation, mantra murtim amurtikam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is amurtikam, who has no material form. So worshipping mantra murti, it is so much recommended by greatest devotee Narad Muni. So although these things are mentioned in the scriptures everywhere, unless we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, we will not be able to realize these facts. And thus we will dabble with so many other spiritual processes which are not effective and miss this most important thing, which is spoken by most authorized person, Narad Muni. Now what happens when a person worships mantra murtim is explained next. Imam swanigamam brahman avetya mad anushtitam adan me jnanam aishwaryam swasmin bhavam cha keshavaha. Imam swanigamam brahman. What is the meaning of nigamam? Nigam means Vedic literatures. That is why Bhagavatam, we remember the verse. Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam idam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is called ripened fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. So Vedic literatures are called nigamam. Imam swanigamam brahman. O Brahmana, thus, by the Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed first with the transcendental knowledge of the Lord as inculcated in the confidential parts of the Vedas. Avetya mad anushtitam. Then with the spiritual opulences, adan me jnanam aishwaryam. So once I got the jnanam, as mentioned in Nigamam, confidential part of the Vedas, next I got aishwaryam, opulences, which Prahlāda Mahārāja also mentions here. So before receiving opulences equal to Lord, one is required to have transcendental knowledge. All the material desires are present in the heart only because of ignorance. Maya makes a puppet of us. Maya gives a body and mind. With that mind and body, we are forced to chase certain kind of desires which are not actually my desires. If I get the body of a dog, I'll be forced to chase bones and filthy foodstuff. I'll be forced to become a scavenger, running here and there and looking out for rotten foodstuffs in the dustbins and other places. If I get the body of a pig, I'll be forced to chase stool and dirty foodstuffs, dirty places, dirty dwelling. So in this way, I am forced. These are not my desires. Just see, we are so helpless. Maya makes a plaything of us. So thus I should understand, I should no longer remain a plaything in the hands of Maya. These are not my desires. I am in illusion of my constitutional position. My original desire is of serving the Supreme Lord, that I have forgotten. So in a crazy way, we think that we are the bodies, and helplessly we get dragged down by the forces of nature. So when we get this knowledge by executing the regulative principles of chanting, mantra murtim amurtikam, chanting the holy names of Krishna, then the knowledge, confidential knowledge which is mentioned in the Vedas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is revealed to us. So when the confidential knowledge of Supreme Personality is revealed, then automatically material desires, they go away. We come out of illusion. So in knowledge, material desires, they don't stay in the heart. So that is why when Parikshit Maharaj was given the description of hell, he being a responsible king and a devotee, he was very much concerned, how do I help people? He is going to die in 7 days, but he becomes concerned, how do I save others? Because they are going to die and suffer so much when they go to hell. So Shukdev Goswami tells they should do atonement. So Parikshit Maharaj tells atonement is of no use because their heart is full of material desires. Then Shukdev Goswami tells, yes, actually atonement is of no use unless a person gets knowledge. So knowledge is real atonement, spiritual knowledge. When a person gets spiritual knowledge, then desire to have sense gratification will go away from the heart. And when desire is not there to gratify the senses, one will not commit sinful activities, and thus one will remain pure. So how to come to platform of knowledge? For this, tapasa brahmacharyena shamena damena cha, the process of jnana was required. So people are very fond of reading and calling themselves jnani, but jnana cannot be attained simply by reading the books. The bookish knowledge was given later. Before that, Guru would train disciple in strict tapasya, austerity. First austerity is brahmacharya. Unless a person follows very strict brahmacharya and shamena cha damena cha, one controls mind and senses, there is no question of coming to platform of knowledge. So all reading of Vedas will not bear any fruit unless a person is established in very strong brahmacharya, control of mind, control of senses. So any kind of yoga we are following, Hatha yoga, Bhakti yoga, Jnana yoga, control or Karma yoga, control of mind and senses is very, very important. Without controlling mind and senses, there is no advancement in spiritual life. So first of all, one must train oneself in strict control of mind, senses, tapasya, austerities, brahmacharya, and then when one reads the Vedas, one will come to platform of knowledge. So it is very tough process, this process of jnana. Very rigorous tapasya is required. But easy process is bhakti yoga. By taking shelter of spiritual master, chanting 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles, another thing which spiritual master gives. And these regulations are not very hard. We can follow with little determination. So if you follow the simple process, this is the best process. This is called process of bhakti yoga. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya, pure devotional service. So when a person follows this pure devotional service, what happens first of all? O Brahmana, thus by the Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed first with the transcendental knowledge of the Lord. One is able to understand Lord as inculcated in confidential parts of the Vedas, and then with spiritual opulences, and then with his intimate loving service. So Lord is not unintelligent that he gives opulence to a person whose heart is not clean. Here in material world, everyone is educated. Heart is not clean. They educate him, he becomes opulent and uses his opulence to destroy himself and others. But Krishna does not give opulence to a person unless somebody is actually responsible. Spiritual opulences, material opulence is actually a punishment that will be given and a person may suffer also. But spiritual opulence is not given to a person unless one shows strict control of mind, body, senses. He shows good character, transcendental knowledge. And then with his intimate loving service, and opulence is not the end. That is why Sarshti Mukti, having equal opulence, the residence in Vaikuntha Loka, is also not generally accepted by the devotees. The devotees simply want pure devotional service. If opulence helps in service of Krishna, they will accept. Otherwise, they are not interested even in that. After opulence comes intimate loving service, pure devotional service, spontaneous love of Godhead. And then with his intimate loving service. So in this way, Narada Muni describes how this progressive evolution happens in one's spiritual life. Prabhupada very nicely explains, please hear in the purport. Communion with the Lord by transmission of the transcendental sound is not different from the whole spirit of Lord Sri Krishna. Communion with the Lord by transmission of transcendental sound is non-different from the whole spirit of Lord Sri Krishna. It is a completely perfect method for approaching the Lord. So this method of mantra murtim is explained by Srila Prabhupada, that this way of association with the Lord is non-different from complete spirit of the Lord. It is completely perfect method for approaching the Lord by such pure contact with the Lord without offense of material conceptions, numbering 10. So we know there are 10 offenses against chanting the holy name. So if we avoid these 10 offenses, by such pure contact with the Lord, without offense of the material conceptions numbering 10, the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of the Vedic literatures, including the Lord's existence in the transcendental realm. The Lord reveals his identity gradually to one who has unflinching faith, both in the spiritual master and in the Lord. After this, the devotee is endowed with mystic opulences, which are 8 in number. And above all, the devotee is accepted in the confidential entourage of the Lord and is entrusted with specific service of the Lord through the agency of the spiritual master. So thus Prabhupada is telling, in order to understand the confidential position of Lord and his existence in transcendental realm. So actually, we are not able to develop this complete faith. Otherwise, we will give up everything and surrender completely unto the Lord. There won't be any complaints of not having time, not having resources, having some difficulties and troubles. Actually, there are no troubles in this material world. So-called comfort and so-called troubles also are going to vanish in no time. So thus why we are wasting time with these temporary things. One should immediately completely surrender and focus on eternal life. But somehow this faith does not awaken in the heart that Lord transcendently exists in the spiritual world and I also exist there as his eternal servant. And thus unnecessarily we take tensions, botherations in this material world. We are wasting time. We are not finding time for Lord's service. We are not happy simply by maintaining ourselves, which is very easy. So this faith has to be developed. Existence of Lord in the spiritual world, we have to have thorough conviction for this. And how this conviction will come, Prabhupada explains. It is a completely perfect method for approaching the Lord by such pure contact with the Lord without offense of material conceptions. Numbering 10, the devotee can rise above the material plane to understand the inner meaning of Vedic literatures, including the Lord's existence in transcendental realm. So we have to rise to the spiritual platform to understand transcendental existence of the Lord. And how do we rise to spiritual platform? When we chant without offenses. So that is why we should be very, very careful. We should be striving always that we improve our chanting of the holy names. So that is why Prabhupada was very careful that devotees discuss how we can improve, how we can work upon our chanting. So enthusiasm is required to do material improvement. Similar enthusiasm is required for spiritual improvement also. Just like here, people are always discussing, how do I become rich more? What do I do to increase my material opulence? Which college should I join? Which course should I take? Which job should I do? In which country should I shift? In which city should I shift? Which profile should I shift? Which business I should start? In a similar fashion, one should always be discussing, how do I improve my chanting? And one should always be striving. It is not easy. Maya will make us forgetful. We will commit offenses. We will come in wrong association. Always striving has to be there. How to improve, how to improve. This should be our only struggle. Thus, Prabhupada has written so many books, staying up late at night. And Prabhupada told why you are not reading the books. All the disturbance in mind is there because you don't read these books nicely. And then Prabhupada explained what is the ultimate purpose of reading, of producing all these books. Prabhupada told, I have written all these books so that you can chant Hare Krishna purely. So everything is there to help us in pure chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. So thus, if we simply pay attention and we strive, but continuous endeavor, hard work will be required. We have to regulate our life. We have to work very hard in service of spiritual master. Then only we'll be able to avoid the offenses. Otherwise, it is not possible. So all these things have to be done. Rules, regulations have to be followed. But we have to see that we are improving in our chanting. And when we do this, we come to spiritual platform by improving our chanting process. And then one is able to understand the confidential existence of Lord in the transcendental realm. And after this, the devotee is endowed with mystic opulences. So it is not that devotee is not having siddhi. The devotee gets all the siddhi after understanding the transcendental existence of the Lord. So to whom this will be revealed? It is told the Lord reveals his identity gradually. Immediately Lord will not reveal. Gradually he will reveal. To whom? To one who has unflinching faith both in the spiritual master and in the Lord. So how to have unflinching faith in spiritual master and the Lord? For this we have to follow the rules and regulations very, very strictly. So we have to thus be very, very careful. Whatever little rules and regulations are given, we should not take discounts. Follow all the rules and regulations very strictly. When we follow and serve very nicely without reservation, our faith in Lord and Supreme and the spiritual master will increase. So when we are having unflinching faith, so if we are not having faith in spiritual master and Lord, then we have to follow rules and regulations more rigorously, take guidance of devotees. Where am I lacking? One should have complete faith in spiritual master and follow without hesitation. When such faith is displayed, such faith is carried in the heart, to such a person, Lord reveals himself gradually. And then mystic opulences are given, which are 8 in number. Ashtasiddhis, Anima. The devotee also can become smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, bigger than the biggest. The devotee can control others. The devotee can produce anything. He can produce planet also. The devotee becomes so powerful. And the devotee can attain anything which is obtainable in the world. And devotee can take any form which he desires. Like this amazing, extraordinary, he can expand himself into many forms. So all these opulences a devotee attains automatically. And above all, but this opulence is not the ultimate thing. Above all, the devotee is accepted in the confidential entourage of the Lord and is entrusted with specific service of the Lord through the agency of the spiritual master. Through spiritual master, a specific service is given, and this is the ultimate objective of chanting of the holy names. A pure devotee is more interested in serving the Lord than in showing an exhibition of the mystic powers dormant in him. Sri Narada has explained all these from his personal experience. So now what we are repeating the words of the Acharyas. But Narad Muni is not simply repeating, he is explaining his personal experience of attaining all these things. And one can obtain all the facilities which Sri Narad Muni obtained by perfecting the chanting process of the sound representation of the Lord. Prabhupada writes, one can obtain all the facilities which Sri Narad Muni obtained by perfecting the chanting process of the sound representation of the Lord. There is no bar for chanting this transcendental sound by anyone, provided there is one condition. What is that condition? Anybody can chant. There is no bar, no conditions, provided it is received through Narad's representative coming down by the chain of disciplic succession or the parampara system. One should be very careful to find a spiritual master who is coming in parampara and taking shelter, complete shelter of such bona fide spiritual master. If one receives the mantra and then tries to perfect the mantra, then one can have the same experience which Narad Muni attained. He attains opulence of the Lord, and beyond the opulence, he gets intimate loving service through the agency of spiritual master. And that is why Prahlāda Mahārāja also, attaining the opulence, same opulence of the Lord, still is maintaining his position as servant and offering prayers to the Supreme Person, who is Brahma. He is not different from the Brahma Jyoti, Brahmano hi Pratishtam. He is Paramatma. He is only the super soul dwelling in the heart. And he is Haraye. Haraye means Hari, the Supreme Lord, who takes away all the miseries of the devotees. So there are actually no miseries in our life. Miseries are because we don't allow Lord to help us. Lord is Hari. He is willing to take away all the miseries, provided we follow his instructions very, very strictly, which we receive through the spiritual master. And the most important instruction of the spiritual master is to chant holy name without any offenses. So let us try to be very, very sincere to improve our chanting, and all spiritual success depends just upon the chanting of the holy name. So let us see that we are improving and try to work hard towards that. So with this we will end. Now today we are all in Mayapur Dham. So again, we will not be able to take any questions. We will try to take in future session. Thank you so much for hearing. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.